Hello everyone, today I'm going to make a tutorial on how to make different types of text in Photoshop. I'll leave timestamps in the video to the different types of text. If you want to download the Photoshop documents with the text already in there, where you can just change it to anything you want, that'll be in the description, as well as any other links needed in the video, such as textures or images I use. But thank you for watching and enjoy the video. Okay, so the first text we're going to start with. So we're going to start off with just normal thumbnail text, and when you make a new document you want to pick HDTV 1080p, and it might be showing these lines. If it is, just hold Control or Command and press H, and that'll get rid of them. To make this text, the first thing we want to do is grab the text tool, which you can do, just press the letter T and then click, and then type whatever text you want. So I'm just going to type thumbnail. The font I'm using is Montserrat. I'll link that in the description as well. So with the text here, I'm going to change the color to white because that'll work the best. And then you can double click the text layer here, which will bring up the effects panel. Then you can add a drop shadow with these settings. And depending on where your light is in the scene, you want to change the angle. So usually I use 135 degrees for the lighting. After that, it's hard to read. You want to add a stroke and set that to black. Set the size to 12. And then position it to outside. Then you want to add an inner shadow and just put it on this setting. This is already a pretty good text, and you can see it works on any color really because of the stroke. But if you want to make it look a little better, just hold Control or Command J to duplicate the text layer. Remove the effects by clicking that button there. Pressing Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, press Convert to Smart Object. Then set this anywhere from 15 to 25. So I think 20 looks good there, and just put it on there. If that's still a bit too harsh, you can just lower the opacity a bit, and that just adds a simple glow to the text. Then you can highlight both layers and press Ctrl G to group them. That's the first type of text there. The next type of text we're going to do is to make text look like it's built into a wall or something. So I'm just going to find something on Texture Lab that works. I'm going to use this one, Brick 137, download that. Once you have your texture in Photoshop, you can press T to get on the pen tool, type whatever text you want. I'm just going to type thumbnail, and then once you've typed that, you can click it and press Ctrl T to then scale it up, and I'm just going to put it there. You want to highlight the whole text, click a color in the scene with the color picker, and change it to that color, and make it just a little bit darker. Then once you've done that, change the blending mode to multiply, and it should kind of go into the text a bit. Once you've done that, you can double click the text layer, and then add a bevel and emboss. Then you want to set it to inner bevel, change the technique to chisel hard, change the size to something quite small, and then just the soften on like 2 pixels. Then you want to set the altitude to 90, and then the angle doesn't really matter when the altitude's on 90, and that'll start to make it look like it's set in whatever the background is. To make it look a bit better, you can adjust the colors and see what works best. So you just want to kind of go through the different grays and find something that works well. I've just tweaked the bevel and emboss, and this so far is looking pretty good. But to make it look even better, if you want, you can press down here, add a solid color, pick something grayish, click the mask here, hold Control or Command and press I to invert it, and then press B to get on your brush tool. Up here, lower the flow down to something like anywhere from 1 to 5%. Then you can press up here, lower the hardness, and then using the square brackets, make it bigger or smaller, and just shade over to make it a bit darker, and drag this below the text. Make sure to also set the blending mode of this layer to multiply, and if you've drawn over it in white and it's a bit too harsh, just go back over in black and it will erase it. Now I got something like this, and I'm going to hold Control or Command I to invert it, so it more highlights the text, and then I'm just going to draw over in black to erase it a bit more. And we can see that just adds a bit more depth to the image, and it makes it really fit in. And you can merge this all together by clicking it all and press Ctrl G, and then you can scale this down a bit. Then you can move this up and just move the text and the layer down together to something there. Move the background up a bit more. Then you can hold Ctrl J to duplicate the background, and then you can hold Control on these middle bits here and just drag it down, and it kind of squishes it down. It makes it look like it's going backwards more. Then on this layer, you can click here, add a brightness and contrast, set the brightness a bit lower, contrast a bit higher. Then I'm going to group all these layers and then add the color fill layer on top of there. And then in the color fill, you can add a white line across here by lowering this down by holding Alt or Option and then dragging with right click. Set the hardness up to like 60%, make it smaller, set it to white, set the flow to something higher like 12%, click over this side, then hold Control and scroll across, and then hold Shift and then click this side, and then that kind of adds a line to separate them both. And there you have text that looks like it's in a wall. And you can apply this to pretty much any type of texture to get the text to look like it's sitting in said texture. And this one's pretty simple to change. You can just change the text to anything you want. And then after you click off, it'll do the emboss and stuff. And you got a good looking text in the wall. The next type of text we're going to make is just a very big bit of text. I'm not sure if you would really use this in a thumbnail, but you want a more bubbly font. So I'll link that in the description as well. The ballpark font. Scale it up, set it to white, then just double click it and add a stroke. Set that to something more pastel. And then you can just press Ctrl G to group it. Then add something like a drop shadow. Set the spread to 100%. The angle to 135. The distance to something high. Make the size a bit lower. And then just move it. Do this repeatedly. Group it again. Add a stroke around all of that. You can move the drop shadow closer or further away, and it will just update it all at the same time. But if there's certain things you don't want, like say here there's a little blue dot, you can just add another layer on top, get the brush, make it small and put the hardness up to 100%, and then just hold Alt or Option and then click whatever color you want and just fill in that spot. So I've just gone through there and finished off all the little details. If you want to see tutorials on anything else, make sure to comment what you want to see a tutorial on, and I'll try and make a tutorial on that. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you just want the files for these, I'll link it in the description and you can get that for a small fee. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.